Okay, well, thanks everybody for joining us. As I said, my name is Nick Warburton. I work for Global Distribution, and thanks for your time for attending this webinar today. We're going to be talking about workflow solutions with Spectralogic and Tiger technology. I'd just like to introduce a couple of other people that are on the call here with me. I've got Jesse and Peter from Spectralogic. Jesse's in Spectralogic's marketing team based out in the US, and Peter runs UK and North European sales for Spectralogic. And also on the call is Angus from Tiger Technology, who heads up their marketing. So what we thought we'd do is we'll run through the webinar, we'll get through the technology and talk a little bit about the bundles that we can offer, how the tech fits together, and then at the end of the session we'll do a bit of Q&A. So hopefully you'll see in your WebEx a Q&A box. So if you just, as your questions come up, pop them into the Q&A box, and at the end Jesse, Peter, Angus and myself will do our best to answer them. Okay, so we're just going to start by talking about some of the workflow challenges that face production facilities at the moment in the market. Obviously, one of the key ones is increasing video resolutions. 4K is pretty much now ubiquitous around Europe, and many clients are working on multiple streams of 4K, which requires an ever more powerful storage to drive that. Combined with this, you also need to be able to easily and securely access that media and share that between different members of a team. And you've also got to be able to protect the valuable digital assets and archive them to free up space on your production systems. Project management is another key challenge. Again, mismanagement of stale or old media that's clogging up production storage can hamper even the simplest video and enterprise workflows. And this can cause strain not only on the systems that you're using, but also on human resources. So ensuring that the relevant digital assets are available on the correct storage tier is really a principal challenge for many rich media operators today. Until recently, a lot of this sort of technology has been the domain of big name, big ticket setups that have been able to supply high performance end-to-end storage workflows. These are the guys that have been able to offer that high performance storage and tiering down to lower cost storage tiers. But apart from the upfront cost of a lot of these systems, other barriers to deployment often include time and expertise, support and maintenance costs, and these can really, hamper the deployment because they outweigh the benefits of implementing such systems. Other challenges exist around infrastructure. So many customers are struggling with NAS systems that really aren't designed for high-performance video and other kind of unstructured data workflows. And these can quickly reach bottlenecks in their performance or capacity, and it can often be very tricky to engineer around these issues, and customers just have to go out and buy more NAS systems to try and get around the problem. Also, customers are looking at mixed network topologies. They're looking at leveraging cheaper Ethernet technology as opposed to fiber channel, but they don't want to trade off the performance of going Ethernet versus fiber channel. Traditional SAN systems, high-performance SANs, have been seen as complex to engineer and manage, especially if you're a smaller to medium-sized facilities where you have a lot of freelancers coming in and out of the facility. It makes it more difficult to lock the system down and make sure people only have access to what they should be using. And again, we're back to cost. It's seen as a barrier to implementation, but in this webinar, hopefully we'll be able to show you that by combining the advanced workflow engines from Tiger Technology and the digital protection technology from Spectralogic, customers can quite easily achieve that functionality, enterprise functionality, with support at a price point that's affordable. So what can we look to expect to get from a solution that combines Tiger Technology and Spectralogic? So firstly, what we'll be able to deliver is a complete end-to-end workflow and pipeline. We can provide very high performance using Tiger servers and all their Tigerbox appliances. For example, they have SSD appliances. Tiger are obviously providing the shared management services and user and project management. And then we can combine the Tiger technology with SpectraLogic to provide that integrated backup and archive, that fast, affordable near line of storage, and also transparent archive to LTFS, so you can move all your stale media or critical digital assets off your primary storage and onto a much more cost-effective tape tier of storage. So what I'm going to do now is just show you a couple of diagrams that will just show the concept of what we're talking about. So what we have here is we can see an example where we've got a Tiger serve with dual nodes, and this is their high availability appliance. As you can see, we've got node A and B labeled, so this is fault tolerant, so if you lose a node, it doesn't matter, the system continues to keep running. As we can see, we've got some fiber channel storage connected into that via a switch. Now, this can be any fiber channel storage. Tiger are agnostic on the fiber channel front. They have partners that they work with more closely, that's for sure, but at the end of the day, fiber channel block storage is fiber channel block storage as far as Tiger is concerned. What you may also notice is we're connecting to the Tiger serve not only over fiber channel, so we've got some fiber channel attached clients, but we've also got Ethernet attached clients. So that could allow us to use the fiber channel 8 gig or 16 gig to do some heavy lifting to a certain number of workstations, but connect a much larger number of clients over Ethernet at a much lower price point. But really crucially to this point is one of the big advantages of the Tiger technology is that both the fiber channel and Ethernet clients connect at a block level to the storage. They share exactly the same file system, exactly the same permissions, and they have all the benefits of the Tiger workflow engine as well. So in the bottom right-hand corner of the diagram, we can also see the SpectraLogic Black Pearl with their with one of their T-series tape libraries. The Black Pearl is connected to the Tiger serve over 10 gigabit Ethernet, and as we see later on, this is how data can be moved from the fiber channel storage via the Tiger serve to the Black Pearl and into the tape library. This is a process that we're going to go through in much more detail a little bit later on. Just as another quick example, we also have the Tigerbox, and Tigerbox is another appliance from Tiger Technologies, and this combines the metadata workflow engine and the disks into a single unit. Again, depending on the specification you order, you can get 10 gig, 8 gig fiber, 10 gig Ethernet, 16 gig fiber, or combinations thereof, so you can best decide what connectivity to use to the workstations. Again, we're connecting over 10 gigabit Ethernet to the Black Pearl and then on to fiber SAS to the tape library, whichever is your preference. And again, this is how we can move data from the Tigerbox via the Black Pearl appliance into the library. So I'm just going to carry on by saying a little bit more about Tiger technology. Tiger design and support world-class innovative storage workflow solutions for rich media, but also like to say at this point, they also deal with other unstructured data applications, so whether it be oil and gas or life sciences, those kind of big data systems which have lots of unstructured media. And exactly goes the same for SpectraLogic, although we're talking about rich media in this instance, the analogy can be used for other rich data environments. So how does Tiger do this? Well, they do it by, in my opinion, not just being a file system, and I think this is a very important point to make. There are a lot of vendors out there that make fast file systems. What Tiger do is they provide the project and workspace management by default in their appliances. So it's not a third-party app you have to run. It's not paid for extra you have to purchase. It's built into the solutions. And as we can see, they have some advanced volume and media management solutions built in, and these are things like smart pooling, which allow you to, on the fly, add additional storage volume into the system without having to take anything offline. They have automatic defragmentation of the file system. They also optimize DPX file sequences, so they're most optimum. The Tiger serve, as we've seen, is available as a high availability appliance. And we also, as we're going to talk about later, they offer their replication and tiering module for getting data off their appliances. One of the other key things, I think, is that it's a very artist-friendly solution. Very few facilities have full-time dedicated sysadmins to take care of their storage. They have to do a myriad of other tasks. And one thing Tiger are very adamant about is that, your time should be spent on the craft and not managing the storage systems. And of course, because it's Tiger, in my opinion, it offers excellent value for money as well. So we're just going to take a quick snapshot look at some of the customers that we have in Europe and a couple in the US. This is just a small snapshot across the one. I'm just going to pick a couple out here. So Envy in London, they're a big Tiger users. They have 5 separate sites, and they use the tiering and replication modules to secure that data across all their different sites. They're also a SpectraLogic customer, and then another one that's both a SpectraLogic and Tiger customer is Sunset and Vine. So those are just 2 that are in the UK that I just want to pick out. So let's look at who needs Tiger technology and why. So any customer that needs or requires central shared storage, really. Customers that may be looking at a more Mac-friendly, app-friendly solution other than XAN, people that are looking for a more budget-friendly alternative to StoreNext. And Tiger also offers affordable Avid file system emulation with full bin locking support. And I think this is increasingly important because very few facilities just have Avid or just have Adobe. There's a real mix now of different applications being used to create the end product, and Tiger is a system that's agnostic to these and supports all of them. So we're just going to have a look at 3 key product areas from Tiger Technology. First is their TigerServe. This is their MDC, or as I like to call it, I think Angus refers to it as the workflow engine. This is the heart of the system. It can be hybrid, so as we've seen, we can connect both fiber channel and IP clients to the server. We support any fiber channel storage arrays. Because we're building a SAN, there's no limit on performance apart from the amount of storage and switching you put behind these systems. So we can scale capacity and we can scale performance up. And again, with the TigerServe, which is their dual node version, we can also offer high availability with failover. And we're including those smart pooling, DPX file optimization, defragmentation. All these features are standard within the product. So that's the TigerServe series. We have a Tigerbox, which was also mentioned in one of the diagrams. This is a real plug-and-play device. It combines the metadata engine and the storage in one chassis. It's expandable by adding a further 4 expansion chassis, so you can grow out the capacity. But the real value comes in the plug-and-play. It's very easy to install, and again, it has all those great features of smart pooling, defragmentation. Again, they're all included in the system, along with the option for the replication and tiering module. The Tigerbox One SSD, this is their really high-performance appliance. It's a one-U appliance. It features 8 SSDs in it, and so we can push 3 gigabytes a second in this system. So it's ideal for high-resolution grading. It provides affordable priced SSD, and with the combination of the replication module, it means that we can very effectively tier data from the high-performance online disks to a much more cost-effective second tier of storage, such as the SpectraLogic Verdi NAS, which we're going to talk about a little bit later on. So looking at the management, everything's managed for web UI. Again, very important. We don't need dedicated IT professionals in to do this. The Tiger appliances, like the boxes, they really are a 5-click to deployment. It takes longer to take them out the box and put them in the rack than it does to get them set up. I can set these things up. They're done in 10 to 15 minutes tops. And the other thing that Tiger offer across all their appliances is unlimited connection licenses for clients. So it doesn't matter whether you're using a Tigerbox or a TigerServe, you can connect as many clients to it as you want. You don't have to worry about any per-client licensing. In terms of workflow, unlike other fast file systems, Tiger, as I said, we include some project features to start with. All their appliances and software include Project Store Starter Edition for free. That's standard across all the range. So what Project Store does is it helps solve some of those problems of managing creative production pipelines and accelerates the workflow around standard production and post-production software packages. It provides a really simple way of creating workspaces, users, and then defining the access controls for those users, the permissions, quotas, and also helps cut down on those error-prone manual media handling processes that can often cause so much problems in a workflow. You can also upgrade to Project Store Pro, and this gives you Active Directory support. It gives you a Google-style search of media and metadata. You can also use it to create proxies of video clips, and these video clips can be viewed via a standard web browser over a network, either locally or remotely. Finally, we offer the ability to create certain project templates. So if you have repeat custom business and you have a specific template workflow that you want to use for that business, you can set up a generic template for that, and so your time to get cracking on your project is vastly reduced. Again, Project Store is this product that allows you to support Avid Media Composer natively, along with other creative tools such as FCP, FCPX, Adobe Creative Cloud, Adobe Anywhere, Blackmagic, the list goes on, Nuke, Flame, Smoke, the whole range. So this is coming to maybe towards the heart of how we integrate with SpectraLogic. It's about replication and tiering, which in my opinion is about the right data being in the right place at the right time. And this is really key. So many either resellers come to me or customers when I meet them, the end users, they're concerned with how they free up disk space for new projects, how they minimize that cost of the more expensive online storage, how do they secure the valuable assets either that they own or they're working on for one of their customers. And they know that an HSM solution is the right way to go, but they're wary that they're often really complex and expensive and difficult to implement. So with Tiger technology, I think, and SpectraLogic, we have the answer to these questions. So using the HSM policies, the replication policy modules of Tiger, the customer do two really key things. The first one is that it allows them to create a second copy of their data. So it allows any data on the appliance to be protected. You've got a second or third copy of that digital asset so you know it's secure. The second thing that the replication module can be used to do is free up space on that fast primary storage by creating a stub file and linking to the original media that's now on a different storage tier. So eligibility for this replication of media can depend on many different things: the age of the file, the age and the size of the file, or last access date. Crucially also, Tiger have now got native support for the SpectraLogic Black Pearl, making a very powerful combination of online, nearline, and data tape. Tiger technology can also replicate to multiple locations at the same time, so you could replicate to a tape device behind the Black Pearl, and you could replicate to a NAS device at the same time, making 2 copies, or even into the cloud. So there's a quick, in a nutshell, hopefully an overview of Tiger technology. I'm just going to touch quickly on how that replication module works. Just play you this short video. So in here we can see that the data is on the primary tier of storage, and for whatever reason it meets the criteria for replication. It's replicated over to the second tier of storage. At that time, a stub file is created on the online storage, and that's secured, ready for use. If a customer needs that, they just click on the stub file, request that it be opened, and that will trigger the restore from the second tier of storage, and it will be moved back onto the online storage. So the concept is really very simple and very easy to use from a customer's perspective. So let's have a quick look at SpectraLogic, the second party that we're talking about here today. So they develop deep storage solutions that solve the problem of long-term storage for customers dealing with exponential data growth. And a lot of people might say, well, exponential data growth, isn't that the BBC or Sky or big corporates? It's not me. But I come across so many, even very small facilities that are struggling to manage their data. You know, they may quote for jobs that are only they're expecting 20 or 30 terabytes in for a project, and the client turns up with twice that. And it's their problem to deal with that data, so what do? And this is where SpectraLogic comes in, and they offer a really scalable way to invest in deep storage technology that I think not only provides a very cost-effective price point, but SpectraLogic is always a company that make it very easy to grow, and they're very clear that they protect your investment in the technology over time. And that's something that you know, we deal with other tape companies, and it's something you don't get from other vendors. SpectraLogic very much care about your investment in their technology over time. So SpectraLogic could be the last tape library you ever need to buy. Their systems start from as small as 1 drive and 10 slots and scale right the way up to a staggering 144 drives and over 50,000 slots. So it can be as small or as big as you could possibly need it. They also have some new disk products. They have a Verdi family of NAS disk products. And as we're going to see next, we're going to talk about the Black Pearl, which is part of their hybrid storage ecosystem. So what is Black Pearl? Simply put, it's an object storage gateway that supports either disk, tape, or cloud. We're going to focus more on the tape element in this discussion. But I just want to roll back a little bit just in case some of you aren't familiar with object storage. So whereas you're all familiar with file systems that, you know, they're designed to store millions or perhaps hundreds of millions of files. The difference with object storage is that it's designed to store billions or hundreds of billions of objects or files. And you're all familiar with file systems. You have an external drive that you plug into your laptop, and you can see your file tree and file structure. That's all very straightforward. With object storage, it's not so simple. Typically, you need to interface these with an API, so you can't just plug an object store into your laptop. But on the other hand, if you use Google Drive, if you use Amazon or Facebook, Spotify, any of those kind of cloud services, you're already using object storage probably many, many times a day. So one of the key advantages of object storage, which is why it's so interesting, apart from the massive scalability, is that it hides the complexity of the inner workings of the object store from the appliance. In this case, Black Pearl is hiding the complexity of storing data in a tape library or in other locations from the Tiger appliance. The great analogy for this, I'm sure you've probably all heard it, is the concept of valet parking. You're in the US, you drive up to a restaurant, you hand over your car keys, you get a ticket back, paper ticket back, you go in, you have your meal, you come out, and then you give your ticket back to the valet and they go get your car and you drive off. And it's exactly the same concept between the Tigerbox and the Black Pearl. The Tigerbox gives data to the Black Pearl and it gets an electronic ticket back. The Black Pearl then goes and parks that data somewhere, and the Tigerbox doesn't know where that it is. It doesn't need to know where it is. All it needs to know is when it hands back its electronic ticket, it'll get its data back. And this functionality, as I said, hides the complexity of the object store, which means that the Tiger compliance can get on with doing its job and the Black Pearl can handle everything else in the background. So we'll just have a real quick look at the inner workings of a Black Pearl, what's it made up of. It's available either as a 2U or 4U chassis, depending on the size of the archive it's driving. It combines SSDs, as you might expect, for the operating system and databasing. And then we have a chunk of SAS technology, standard SAS drives in there. And this makes the disk cache, which buffers the data between the application and the tape library. This can be tens of terabytes, so I think the standard jumping in point is about 40 terabytes of disk cache, but this could also be petabytes of disk cache if you wanted it to. So obviously the bigger the disk cache, the more quickly active or hot data, can be accessed by the application because it doesn't have to go back to the library to ask for that data. It's already sitting on the disk cache. So the workflows you might expect would be that data comes into the Black Pearl, it's cached on the disk cache, and then it's written off to LTFS tape. As the disk cache reaches a high watermark threshold, the oldest data in the Black Pearl is deleted, but the copy remains safely on tape. If data is requested to the Black Pearl that's on tape, then obviously the tape drives restore that data to the Black Pearl cache, and then it goes out to the appliance. The only slight thing to note here is that the Black Pearl is also optimized for retrieval of media, which is probably the most important. One quick thing I do want to touch on here is about LTFS. LTFS is the de facto storage technology now for tape. Is originally developed by IBM but was very quickly adopted by the LTO consortium. The key thing is that it's a completely open format, completely interchangeable, so you can export data to your customers in an LTFS format and they can read it, and likewise they can send you data back in that format and you can read it. So this is one of the key things that I believe in for archives and have been talking to customers about for many years, is that the key to an archive is that it has to be open. As soon as you become proprietary, as soon as you can't interchange data and become beholden to a software vendor for their proprietary system, is your data really archived? So this is something that's quite important to consider. Another thing to consider is everybody knows that tape is a great, safe place to store data, but what about over the long haul? What about over the really extended time frame? And this, again, is where Black Pearl can really help. So not only can it do the easy things that make 2 copies of data on digital tape to make a secure copy, but Spectralogic are also very keen to talk about something they call genetic diversity of data. And essentially what this means, if you think about it, is the more different storage mediums you can store your data on at one time, the better the chance of that data being available in 30, 40, 50 years and beyond. It's like hedging your bets. If we put a copy on LTO and we put a copy on an enterprise tape format, or we put a copy on LTO and we put a copy in the cloud, the chances are that one of these technologies in 50 years or beyond is still going to be available. And that's something that's really key. While Black Pearl is looking after your data, we're also doing a lot of checksums. We're ensuring that the data does not change over time. So tapes in the library would be read to verify them. And also we're checking that the data doesn't change in flight. So as it's coming in from the application and being read through and written through the Black Pearl, we're continuously doing checksums on it to make sure that data is the same data that it was when it came into the Black Pearl system. As I've already kind of touched on already, the Black Pearl can also help with seamlessly migrating data from different storage topologies, and we'll come on to that again in just a second. This is just a quick slide that I was putting in just to show how easy it is to integrate Black Pearl with Tiger technology. You simply go to the replication and tiering module in Black Pearl, in the Tigerbox or TigerServe. You select the license, you select the appliance that you're writing to, you enter a path, you enter a username and password, and that's it, you're done. You're just connected, and your data will archive as per the policies on the Black Pearl, on the TigerServe, pardon me. So we're just going to have a quick look at what this looks like in more detail. We've got the TigerServe or Tigerbox, the appliance connected to the edit network. And then we can see that data can be either replicated or restored to the Black Pearl appliance over 10 gigabit Ethernet. Once it's in the Black Pearl, that's where you define the policies of what happens to it. So with Black Pearl's advanced bucket management, they call it, this is where you can decide, do you want 1 copy on tape? Would you want 2 copies on tape? Do you want 1 copy on an LTO tape and 1 copy on a different formatted tape? Do you want 1 copy in the cloud and a copy on tape, or copies on disk? This is a hugely powerful and easy to configure system. So this is where you make the decisions about what happens to your data. As I said, any data in the Black Pearl undergoes continuous automated data verification policies. If there is a problem with a tape or a file, the administrator gets an email immediately and they can take action on that. As we said, the Black Pearl can always also manage the replication or migration, I should say, of data between LTA generations. So we're currently on LTA generation 7. Generation 8 is maybe 18 months off, and then beyond that, LTA 9, and I believe we're roadmapped to LTA 10 as well. So once LTA 9 is out and you're running LTA 7, you would think that it'd be time to migrate from 7 to 9. And the Black Pearl and the library can do this independently of the Tiger application. And this is, again, one of the key things about object storage. Again, the Tiger appliance doesn't know that it's on LTA 7 or LTA 8 or 9 or in the cloud. All it does is ask for the Black Pearl for its data back, and the data is just stored. We can also, just worth mentioning, we can also export LTA data tapes from the library, and this is always a best practice for data protection. So you have one tape set in your library and another tape set exported, and that goes to a disaster recovery site, either another office or, you know, a dedicated company such as Iron Mountain that look after people's digital assets. So we've gone through Black Pearl and we've touched on the tape libraries. I'm just going to touch on one of the newer NAS devices from Spectralogic, and that's the Verdi NAS for digital preservation, or DP. And these are designed to be part of your long-term digital storage preservation strategy. Both feature 10 gigabit NAS interfaces, so it's very easy to implement. It's very easy to implement in a Tiger workflow with their replication and tiering module. So both the Verde DP and DPE, they both use shingled magnetic recording media disk technology. And for those that don't know what that is, that's a shingled technology which effectively overlays data tracks on a disk platter, thereby increasing the number of tracks on the platter, which means you can fit more on with less platters, so it keeps the capacity high and the relative cost of the system low. And when I'm talking about shingles, if you think about roof tiles, that's where you get the idea from, is that the roof tiles are overlaid in exactly the same way data tracks are overlaid on the tape. But to use SMR technology, it's not just a case of putting SMR disks in any standard NAS. You have to do quite a lot of work to make sure the file system works with those disks correctly. So this is where Spectralogic have done an enormous amount of work in their implementation of their NAS, and they've tuned it specifically to take advantage of this SMR technology for large sequential writes. They've also implemented triple parity, which means that the chances of data loss are now extremely rare, extremely. I think it's into the one event in a million years with triple parity, so it's very secure. And they also run continuous checksums on the files, and that means that the bit error rate is now somewhere in 1 bit in the power to 10 to the 67. So again, a vanishingly small chance of any of those kind of traditional disk problems coming up, like silent data corruption and bit rot. These things are managed out of the system. So the DP and DPE, they're built for digital preservation, bulk storage and archive of unstructured data, great for random reads and bulk deleting. What you're not going to do off them is edit. So that's the caveat, is they're not designed for online storage, but they make the perfect complement to a Tigerbox or a Tiger SAM. So as I said, there's two versions. There's the Verdi DP, which is a smaller version. It's a 2U chassis, but that still packs 96 terabytes. There isn't any expansion in it. It supports both dual and triple parity. Because the capacity are high and the power supplies are 80+ certified, the power consumption is actually very low, and you get all of those advantages I've spoken about: parity, protection, and continuous checksumming. It's fair to say its bigger brother is quite a bit bigger. We start with a 36-disk head unit, and then this is expanded in 4U 96-disk expansion chassis. So to let you know, that would work out at about 4.7 petabytes in a single rack. So it's a huge amount of data. It expands in 200 terabyte increments. And again, the performance getting data into and off the disk is very high. We write in Spectralogic use these very large stripe sizes of 20 data disks and 3 parity disks. So the performance on and off the appliance is very high indeed. Again, we have this low power consumption, but the real key to Verdi DP and DPE is the cost effectiveness. And with the DPE, it's a US list price, I'll grant you that, but the larger systems, you're talking prices as low as 9 cents a gigabyte, which is extraordinarily low. This will just show you a little bit about how, again, how easy it is to integrate the Tiger appliance with the Verdi. It's all just down, again, to a network path, an IP address, a username and a password, and that's it. You're configured to move data, archive data from your Tiger appliance to the Verdi. So, again, it's extremely straightforward. So just a word on what we're trying to achieve with these things. We think at Spectra and Tiger and ourselves, we think it's a great technology. If you're looking to purchase Tiger and Spectra, both of the manufacturers are doing discounts off their MSRP. So Tiger are discounting their appliances and software. Spectra are discounting their NAS and Black Pearl and tape libraries. So there's too many combinations to put a price list together, but I just wanted to pick 3 examples maybe just to show where it could fit, just start you thinking about potential solutions. So the first one I'm just going to mention is the Tigerbox SSD. So that's that 1U appliance with 8 terabytes of fast disk in a fast flash disk with a quad interface network card with the tiering and replication module, and for example with a 96 terabyte Verdi unit. So you've got that 8 terabytes of really fast performant storage for your online, and then data can be aggressively replicated off that fast disk onto the slower, more cost-effective bulk storage of the Verdi. So that's one potential option. Another one is the Tigerbox 64 terabyte. This is the 64 terabyte is probably the Tiger's best and our best seller. Again, combining that with a replication module to move data off there, and putting that with the SpectraLogic Black Pearl and the 48-slot 2-drive library. So we've got the 64 terabytes of online disk, and then if you put 48 pieces of LTO7 media in that tape library, you've got 288 terabytes of online media. And also one thing to point out is the Black Pearl will manage media outside the library. So you could have 288 terabytes inside the library, and you could have a petabyte of data tapes on your shelf. The last option just want to touch on is the Tiger Serve, so slightly more enterprise, if you will. This is the dual node, so high available. We've got 16 gig interfaces to the host and the storage, and then we've got some 10 gig client size ports as well. Again, with the replication and tiering module with Black Pearl. This time we're going for a 120-slot library. So it's worth thinking 120 slots with LTO7 is a massive 720 petabytes of data that you could hold online in the library. So that's a lot of data. And again, we can hold as many tapes as you want within the management of Black Pearl outside the library. So again, you could have 500, 1,000 terabytes or whatever outside of the library that Black Pearl still has visibility of, and hence the Tigerbox still has visibility of. So that in a nutshell is what I wanted to go through with you today. What I'd like to do at this point is just bring back in Pete and Jesse and Angus and throw the floor open to any questions that might have come in.
I think you covered everything very well, Nick. You know, simply that if you're looking for any kind of alternative to Xsan or StoreNext, or you're concerned about, excuse me, being able to play back multiple streams of high-res material in real time, then some of the Tiger solutions are really well suited to that. They can fit into the infrastructure that you have in place already and take over the job of those older and somewhat expensive products. So that artist-friendly UI that Nick was talking about, and the ease with which we integrate with Black Pearl and the rest of the ecosystem that you're going to have in your facility, including Media Composer processor, just as Nick was saying, makes for a very easy and high-performance solution. So something to inquire about, get a demo of maybe from Nick or from Tiger, and we can show you how that works.
Great. Pete, have you got anything to add for Jesse from a Spectra point of view?
I think you covered just about everything very, very well. And just to reiterate, really, if anybody wants to talk about the long-term storage requirements and potentially into the data diversity, then by all means get in touch with either myself or through you at Global, Nick. Thank you very much.
Brilliant. So hopefully you got, sorry.
We will be sending out a follow-up email with this recording, as well as the document with the bundles that Nick had previously mentioned.
Great. Hello.
Can I make a comment? I thought you might want to talk about the pricing model with Black Pearl. That is a model that does not, Spectra does not charge based on number of slots or managed storage. It is a fixed cost. So for the first time ever, the cost of archive becomes equal to just the cost of storage, whereas in the past, where if there was a middleware, then the cost of managing archive would be much greater. That's a significant cost saving to the end users.
Yeah, that's a great point. Thanks for jumping in there. That's something really important to emphasize with the Black Pearl, is that many HSM technologies will charge you per slot for all the media that you're storing. Black Pearl, as Hussein has said, is a one-off cost. You buy the appliance, and then you could have, one slot or 50,000 slots. You're not paying for the slots, you're just paying the one-off cost of the appliance. So that makes it a really cost-effective model for archiving your data long-term.
And to add to the pricing cost, the replication and tiering module is a one-time fee and not something that scales to capacity or data use. So when Nick was saying that there's great value from Tiger, he really meant it. This is very affordable, and you can, with these different configurations that Nick has put together, get a system that is going to be just the right size and the right price for your setup and operations.
Brilliant. Okay, well, thanks everybody for coming. Hopefully you can see the various email addresses on there if you don't know us. Again, I'm Nick from Global Distribution. My email is nickw at Global Distribution. Peter, who you've heard from, he handles some of the European sales, so you can reach him at peterw@spectralogic. And then for Tiger sales, just sales at tigertechnology.com. As Jesse said, we'll be sending out an e-shot by end of play on Friday, which will have a product flyer in and hopefully a recording of this webinar in it. So if you want to share it with your colleagues, then do feel free to do so. But just like to thank Angus, Jesse, Peter, and Hussein for their time, and thank you all for attending, and hopefully speak to you all soon.